changing your shell prompt. Your shell prompt, another environment variable here, provides you with useful information such as the user you are operating as and or the directory in which you are currently working. So the default shell prompt in Kali takes the following here: user here, username, host name, and current directory. So if you are working with the root user, this translates to this, for example, root at Kali and current directory. So you can change the name in the default shell prompt by setting the value for the PS1 variable. So the PS1 variable has a set of placeholders for information you want to display in the prompt, including the name of the current user, the host name, and the base name of the current working directory. So this is very useful if you happen to have shells on multiple systems or are logged on as multiple accounts. So by setting different users and host names values for different shells or accounts, you can tell at a glance who you are and what your current system is. So let's have a little fun and change the prompt in your terminal. For example, you could enter here PS1 here, for example, world's best hacker here, and hashtag here. As you can see here now, our command prompt is like that here. So now every time you use this terminal, you will be reminded that you are the world's best hacker, but any subsequent terminal you open will still have the default command prompt, because the PS1 variable only holds values for your terminal session. Remember, until you export a variable, it is only good for that session. So if you really like this new command prompt and want to see it in every terminal, you need to export it. So like that, export PS1, but I will not do it in this here. So this will make the change, so change the permanent across all sessions. How about a little more fun here? So say you really want your terminal to look like the Windows CMD prompt. So let's actually, it's quite boring actually here. So say you really want your terminal to look like a Windows CMD prompt. So in this case, you could change the prompt name C and keep the W, have the prompt show your current directory as here. For example, export PS1, actually not PS1, and here this will be CMD here, so we C, and here we will write W for directory here, as you can see here. Here, like that. Or we can do it, for example, cd downloads, like that. So having your prompt show your current directory can be generally useful, so particular to a beginner. So it's something to consider when you change your PS1 variable. We can change path as well. So one of the most important variables in your environment is path variable. Actually, it's boring actually. So let's close it. So one of the most important variables in your environment is your path variable. So which controls where on your system your shell will look for commands you enter, such as a cd, ls, or echo here. So most commands are located in sbin or bin directory here, like user local sbin or user local bin here. If the bash file doesn't find the command in one of the directories in your path variable, it will return the command not found, like that, for example. Command not found here, like that. So even if that command does exist in a directory, not in your path. So you can find out which directories are stored in your path variable by using echo and $sign and path. As you can see here, this is our path here. These are the directories where your terminal will search for any command. When you enter ls, for example, the system knows to look in each of these directories for the ls command, and when it finds ls, the system executes it like that. ls. So each directory is separated by colon, and you don't forget to add the dollar symbol in content path here, as you can see here. So we can add to the path variable here. So you can probably see why it is important to know what is in your path variable. If you downloaded and installed a new tool, let's say, for example, new hacking tool here, into the root new hacking tool directory, you could only use commands from that tool when you are in that directory, because the directory is not in the path variable. Every time you wanted to use that tool, you would first have to navigate root new hacking tool, which is a bit inconvenient if you want to use tool often. So to be able to use this new tool for any directory, you need to add the directory to holding this tool to your path variable. To add new hacking tool to your path variable, enter this command path here, equals here $path and two dot here column here, and for example root new hacking tool here. We added path variable here, so this assigns the original path variable plus this folder here directory to the new path variable. So the variable contains everything it did before plus new tool directory. If you examine the contents of the path variable, again you should see that this directory has been appended to the end of the path as shown here, echo path here. Oops. Echo path. As you can see, we added this our root new hacking tool here. So now you can execute new hacking tool applications from anywhere on your system, rather than having navigate to its directory. The bash shell will look in all directories listed for your new tool. So how not to add a path variable? So one mistake commonly made by new Linux users is assigning a new directory such as a root new hacking tool directly to the path variable like that. Path here, root new directory, root new hacking tool. So this will, if you use this command, your path variable will only contain the root new hacking tool. So your path variable will not contain this, and you will delete all of these path variables and only add this useless folder to it. So and no longer contain the system binaries directories such as bin and swin. So after doing this command, you cannot use ls, cd or any commands here. So when you then go to use any of these commands, you will receive the error command not found here. So remember that you want to append to the path variable, not replace it. So if you are in doubt, save the contents of the variable somewhere before you modify it. So we can create a user-defined variable as well. So you can create your own custom user-defined variables in Linux by simply assigning a value to a new variable that you name. So this may be useful when you are doing the some more advanced shell scripting, or find you are often using a long command that you get tired of typing over and over. So the syntax is straightforward. Enter the name of your variable followed by assignment symbol, and then the value to put in the variable as here, for example, my new variable, and here, and for example, hacking is the most valuable skill set in the 21st century. Here. So this assigns a string to the variable myname variable. So to see the value in that variable, use the echo command and the $content symbol with the variable name, as we did earlier here, my new variable here. As you can see, we printed this. So just like our system environment variables, user-defined variables must be exported to persist to new sessions. So if you want to delete this new variable or any variable, use the unset command, unset my new variable here. So now let's echo, and as you can see, we have no new variable here. So because we deleted this variable with unset command and after pressing echo for printing to terminal, we can't see it because there is no variable here after on setting this variable here. So lastly, you might find environment variables foreign, but it's worth getting to know them. So they control how your working environment in Linux looks, acts, and feels. So you can manage these variables to tailor your environment to your needs by changing them, exporting them, and even creating your own, as we did in this case. So in some cases, they may be useful for covering your tracks as a hacker.